This is the MLT830 model tunnel and tote washer. When we first initiate and start the machine, you will notice that the water that comes into the water compartment is over here. Go ahead. That's how the machine fills up. That's the pump there, bringing in the water, the sensors. And that's also bringing in the soap. That little inlet is the soap coming in as the container or bin is filled up. And inside the water, it has the heating elements to maintain the water temperature at extreme heat so that it can disinfect and clean. There's also a safety here so that when the water goes over, it drains. It will not pass this level here. Additionally, we also have, the machine has its own boilers, which is there in the watt, to also have the water come in and heat itself. When the bin is, or tank, the water tank is completely full, this pump here will stop. It knows when to stop. The one on the right hand side is for the sanitizer, and when the machine is in use and the totes are going through the conveyor, the sanitizer side will also spin. This lever here, as the totes are going through, when it's pressed down, the valves here, it controls the sanitizer. So as the totes pass through, the sanitizer liquid is released along with the water to sanitize the totes and lids. The machine is like a car wash where it doesn't stop. It is continuous. And the totes, bins, baskets, as it's going through, it washes the totes and bins. These nozzles, the pressure water coming out is 65 gallons per minute on the top, on the sides, and one on the back. And over here, it's 65, 40 gallons per minute, 25 gallons per minute, 65 gallons per minute. The machine has the capabilities with the door open to adjust the width of the bin and the height. It has its own electric pumps, its own individual pumps on the outside of the machine, so that the user has the capability before the cycle, before starting up, to adjust the width and the height of the totes. Once the machine is started up, the boiler will reach its temperature, which is preset automatic, and once the boiler reaches its temperature and the tank is full, that's when the machine will start up automatically. the door has to be closed in order for the machine to operate. As you can see, the user is adjusting the conveyor system so that it's at a good height and width, so that with the pressure of the water, so that things don't go flying all over the place. You don't need to squeeze it all the way up top, but allow a little bit of room and play. That's good enough. Once the door is closed, user can press start and the machine will operate. This is the entrance. The tote is going through and it's being pushed through to the conveyor belt. So the totes will come through the conveyor as such. As you can see, it doesn't stop. It keeps on pushing on its way in. So as it comes out, the sanitizer is on this end. And the cleaner, the soap, detergent, is on this end. Depending on the user, you can switch and have both buckets on either end. All you have to do is just point the hoses to the direction that you want. That's why there's an extra hole there. On this side, on the back of the machine, open view, you can see that the black covered styrofoam type. So you have the boilers there. That's the boilers, that's the pump. This is pushes the conveyor system. And then you got the pump up top, which also controls the adjustment of the conveyor system, the height of the tote and basket. The user has the option to control the pump for the cleaner. So you can either put on or off on the dosing pump, and the dosing pump are those two blue things here at the bottom. You can turn it on or off. As well, the user, it is recommended and suggested that when starting the machine for the first time, you can see here that it's now using the sanitizer. The tote is going through and it has passed over the little lever that's standing up in the middle of the conveyor system, and as it goes through, it triggers the dosing pump to bring in the sanitizer, and the tote is now cleaned with the sanitizer. The user can also control the amount of liquid coming in for the cleaner, the detergent. And over here on this side as well, that's the control system with a screwdriver. You can control how much is coming in as well. Once the customer or user is accustomed to how much they want to bring in of the cleaner and sanitizer, they can control this here. It is recommended for the very first run to open it all the way open so that it brings in the liquid. Once the liquid is coming through, you can close it a little bit to control how much you want. As you can see, this will go on and off according to how many totes are going through the line. Every time it spins, it means it's a new tote that has gone through, and the sanitizer is activated, and it cleans the tote with sanitization. So that's the lever. That's the lever that I am referring to. When the tote hits that lever down, the sanitizer is activated on the dosing pump, and as it presses that down, as As the Tote passes this lever down, the sanitizer is activated, and now it's sanitizing along with the water the pump. It is recommended to change these valves here. Normally the machine comes with standard plastic ones. We just replaced this on this new machine here, and these valves are to withstand the heat temperature coming in from a customer who has their own boiler. And if they have their own boiler and water coming in, these valves are recommended and suggested to be replaced along with the new machine. The hose that's coming in as well on the standard version does not come with this hose. We also upgraded to this hose here to also withstand the heat temperature coming in. And that's how you bring in the water from your external source. The inside here, that's where the when the machine first starts up, bringing in the water, this is how the soap, the detergent, is brought into the tank, and it uses the soap in the tank. As the machine is operating, it's always recycling the water within the machine. And at the bottom there, you see that hole there? That's the outlet of where the water, the used dirty water goes through. While the machine is in operation, it will always maintain its temperature of the boiler, its own boiler there, internal boiler, and also it shows the heat temperature on the tank with the heating elements that I have shown and indicated. I'll show it once again. So that's the water there, and under the water, as you can see, is the heating element. The water is up to the level, and it maintains the level of the water in the tank there, and any overflow will go in through the pump. At the end of the day, while this water is being collected and being used throughout the day, when the user is done, all they have to do is put their hand here on this knob, turn it, and it releases the water. That's your emergency stops, and your on and off stops there as well. Here you can see that the configuration of the pump, the dosing, and the dragging sensor is preset, and this is the recommended temperature for the tank and the boiler as well. And this has been preset so that the customer, when they first start up the machine, this is preset. Although the customer does have the option to make the adjustment according to their facility and how they want to operate. It may be recommended that the user brings in hot water into the machine versus cold, as it will increase the efficiency and will improve the machine lifetime. At the end of every shift or every cycle, or when the customer sees that there is little debris or whatnot coming out of here, not debris, I'm using the wrong words. This is how you clean the valves at the end of every cycle. Each green valve has a number, and when the user takes it off, they would need to remember where they took it off from to put it back in, as each one controls a different gallons per hour while spraying and operating the machine. Cleaning the green valves, you remove them at the end of every cycle or when you see fit, and make sure the holes are not clogged up, and replace them, not replace them, but while removing for cleaning, make sure you put it back in the same spot, as each one has different gallons per hour per minute. So here you can see the pump that pushes and brings in the hot water from the hot water tank. This machine uses and recycles the water in the tank. And it is maintained that when the level gets lower on the tank, then it brings in fresh water into the machine and again reuses and recycles the water while washing your totes. Okay, over here, so just to explain the machine will use and recycle its water and wash the totes with recycled water. When the level is down, when it reaches this point, it stops. When it reaches this point, it stops. When the level goes down a bit, it refills with soap, and it also refills over here. This water inlet here, that's the fresh water, and that will only turn on when the level is low, and it brings in fresh water when the tank is at a low censored at a lower level.